Creepers left to rise, buzz like crazy. Everybody's trying to steal my lady. Spiders in the mirror and feel this can't be right. Back to the scene of a Friday night, to a blessed collision still frozen tight. Spill drinkers, Cupid and the sound of her first chime.
Hello. Hello, my friends. Hello, my friends. Hello, my friends. It is Friday. It's Friday. I'm about ready to quit working for the day. I have been making a lot of little donkeys for my Tumblr Creatures business, and I got some really fun book mail that I haven't shared. I got this when I was sick from my sweet friend Sophie, and I wanted to set it up and get some really great pictures, and then I got sick, and I'm struggling. Like, it's been over a week. It's been a week and a half. It's been almost 2 weeks since I first got sick, and I don't feel good at all. Like, today I actually feel worse. And that's one reason why I haven't been, sorry, I'm getting messages here. That's one reason why I haven't been doing a lot of vlogging this week. It's Friday and I haven't started a new vlog, and I'm gonna do a vlog, even if it's short. We're gonna vlog this weekend and see what I read. One reason I didn't start this vlog sooner is because my voice still sounded like, and I was like coughing a lot, and I didn't want to be doing that. But also, like, I've continued to read Elisa Braden, and I love vlogging weekly, but one thing that I struggle with is continuing to read in a series of books, because then I feel like, well, I talked about that series last week. I don't need to talk about it again, and so then I don't. But I finished book 5 in the Elisa Braden series, and I gave it 3 stars, and it's probably my least favorite book of hers, which makes me sad to say, but I will talk about that later in my wrap-up. Speaking of, I still haven't finished my August wrap-up. I'm just behind on everything, y'all. I'm sorry. This is what you get right here. But look at this adorable minifigure Crystal. Is this not perfection? She's in workout clothes. My dear sweet friend Sophie on Instagram, I'll have her Instagram link down below, so please make sure you follow her. She recreates book scenes with Legos, and I won a giveaway that she had, and she recreated a scene from Flow, or Grip, the Grip trilogy. I think she did the carousel scene in Legos, and so then she's like, I'll send you the Legos too. And so she sent me, look at this, can you even believe it? I can't even handle it, it's so amazing. And she also sent me a cute little unicorn book. Focus on the unicorn. Look how cute. Can you handle that? I'm just like so thrilled that this is me. This is me right here. I love it. I love it. I love it. Block my face. I just love it, and I needed to show you because I haven't shared it with anybody because I haven't vlogged since I got this. And anyway, my COVID test was negative, y'all, but I'm not even gonna lie, I am the sickest I have ever been. So I have all the symptoms of COVID. I treated it like it was COVID and that I stayed home, but like I just can't get over it, you know? So technically it says it wasn't COVID, but whatever it was, it knocked me on my butt. So there's 3 minutes of my life. Welcome to a vlog. We're gonna read something. I don't really know. I'm kind of a little teensy weensy bit slumpy, and I don't really know what I want to read. I finished the last Elisa Braden book, and I didn't really pick up a book right away, so I kind of did. Okay. I actually did pick up an audiobook that I've started listening to, and that's what I'm going to read this weekend, and that's what we're going to talk about. And it is How to Flirt with a Naked Werewolf. This book I heard about last year from Lisa, from Remarkably Lisa. I believe she read it during the Paranormal Romance Readathon, and she really liked it. She said it was like a romantic comedy, paranormal romance, and so I was like, you know what, that sounds super fun, and I want to give it a try. So I have started this. I'm very early, and I'm only like on chapter 3. I'm listening to the audiobook, And I'm very excited. So I also am a Patreon supporter of Smart Women Read Romance, the podcast, and every month they will let their Patreon supporters, Jesson and Juliet, suggest a book to read within like a certain subgenre of romance. And this month, I think it was werewolf books, and so I was like, ooh, I have this book that I want to read that I haven't been prioritizing, so I suggested it, and it won. And so that's the book that we're all going to read in her Patreon group, which you should support them because they do fun monthly discussions every month. And that's the book they're going to discuss, so I want to read that. So I'm going to be reading that for sure. For sure. Unless I change my mind. I don't know. I think that's what I'm going to read. I'm going to read it. And, yeah, and then I don't know what else I'll read, but I'll keep you updated when I read some more. So far, it's fun. It's fun. It feels very rom-com-y, and I like it a lot. It has a very easy reading style. I've never read Molly Harper before, so I'm liking it. I have high hopes that I will really enjoy this. I'm hoping for at least a 4-star read, so cross your fingers that it will be for me. I'll check back in when I have read some more to actually talk about. Hello, friends. Whoa, this is a little tall. Let me fix that angle. Is that better? Is that kind of better? That's kind of better, huh? I don't know. The camera's in a different spot. Anyway, look at my adorable crew neck. It says Bibliomania University. It's by Hello Lovely Box, of course. I'm a rep for them. Discount code and all that good stuff is down below if you want to get one. But today is Saturday, and it is finally fall-like weather. Kind of. We had a little bit of rain today, too, and it was a really blustery morning, and all I've wanted to do is just drink, like, hot drinks and read. And that's all I've been doing today. But it's not all good news, friends, because I finished 1, 2, 3, no, yes. The last 4 books that I have read, I have not really enjoyed. And I'll tell you what they are really quickly, okay? Now, on my rating scale, a 3-star is a pretty broad rating because that can be something that, like, it's, in general, it's just a book that I'm like, it was fine. Sometimes it's like, I really didn't like this thing, but other parts of it were good, so 3 stars. You know, it's not anything that I really hated. So, the first book I gave 3 stars was When a Girl Loves an Earl by Elisa Braden. This is one of the Elisa Braden, this is the only Elisa Braden book that I have really not enjoyed pretty much at all. I felt like there was just the heroine pined after him for the, like, 80% of the book almost, and it wasn't returned, and he didn't treat her well. He didn't even acknowledge that he loved her until near the end. And there felt like there was some emotional hostaging happening there with his bad behavior, and then she was upset about it, and he was like, well, you can't treat me like that, we're married. So I was like, it was still really well written, and I know that not everyone agrees with me because I know other people have given this 5 stars, and I know Jesson really liked this, but this has been my least favorite Elisa Braden so far, and I kind of got off that train after I read that book. So then I tried to get back into the Zodiac Academy. I mentioned that earlier in another vlog or video. I just can't, this book is just not for me, friends. It's just not for me. This does have younger characters in it, right? Like the heroine is 18 years old, but that's not always a turnoff for me, you know, honestly, because some of my favorite books, I was just thinking about that, start out with very young heroines, you know, the Kingmaker series. Lennox is young. I think she's 17 in that series. She does age up and get very mature. I believe Ada in Brutal Prince is fairly young. I think she's 18 or 19 by Sophie Lark. And one of my favorite books of all time, Dark Notes by Pam Godwin, she's in high school. She's 17. So just because the character is young doesn't mean, and I'm saying this as a 40-year-old woman, right? It doesn't mean that it's not a book that I can enjoy. I will say, however, that the Zodiac Academy just reads extremely young. I feel like it reads extremely young. I feel like it has a lot of juvenile plot, and The dialogue just is, I don't know, like, I just didn't love this book. It just read extremely young, and the plot just seemed like it didn't make any sense at all. It just, honestly, I didn't care for it at all. At all. Unpopular opinion, because I know lots of people love this book, but I just couldn't even get into it. The writing style was just a huge no for me. I just cannot stand a very juvenile writing style. I just don't like it one bit. And I don't say that with, like, looking down my nose at anybody who does, but I'm saying, like, that's just not something that I enjoy. And, as a 40-year-old woman, I feel like, I don't want to even use the age card, but I want a little bit more maturity in my characters, you know? And it doesn't mean that has to be super serious all the time, because we're going to talk about another book in just a second. But I don't really want to read about characters that are extremely immature, and that's how I felt that was going, and I just, so DNF'd that one. And then I read By Sin I Rise by Cora Riley. This, I actually got an arc of this and I didn't get it read in time for the publication date. Kazi, what are you doing? But I really disliked this book as well, and I'm so sorry. I just was so disappointed in this book. I don't even know if it's so disappointing, because I really didn't have huge expectations. But in general, so this is only the third book of Cora Riley's that I've read. I started her Bound series, the Bound by Honor book. I read that book, and I just really didn't love the writing style. It, again, had a very juvenile, very simplistic, very over-the-top, lacked subtlety and nuance in the characters, especially in their emotional development and in their motivations, like why they behaved the way they did. It just felt too surface level, too obvious, and I just don't love that. But then I read Twisted Emotions. Absolutely loved it. That book felt like it was written by a completely different person. Like, I felt like the amount of growth in her writing from that book compared to Bound by Honor was incredible, and I loved Twisted Emotions. I felt like it did have those over-the-top mafia plot lines and things that happened, but it was grounded in a lot of nuance between the characters and the relationship, and it didn't rely on lust to move their romance. And I feel like By Sin I Rise felt like a huge step backward, and it was purely driven by lust and physical attraction, and I just didn't love it. So I gave that a 3-star, but I rounded it. I mean, I gave it a 2.5-star, but I rounded it up to 3. My full review is on Goodreads. I didn't like that one. And then I read How to Flirt with a Naked Werewolf, which I had pretty high expectations for. I was really hoping this would give me sort of Wolf Gone Wild vibes by Juliet Cross, which is one of my absolute favorite paranormal romances. I just adore that book so much. I adore all of the books in that series. I think Juliet is a fantastic writer. And this one started out really strong. This is basically about a woman who moves to a town in Alaska to kind of have some freedom from her parents, who have really been sort of oppressive in the way that they've raised her. Like, they are very much like hippie liberal type of parents, and they only, you know, they're vegans, they only eat natural food. Like, they're really like they sort of shelter her in a way, in that they don't allow her to have processed foods. She doesn't get to go to school. And so a lot of the book focuses on her mindset sort of breaking out of that. So she ends up in Alaska, and then one night at her door she hears like an animal sound in distress, and she opens the door and there's this wolf trying to take down an elk. And then later on, that same wolf shows up on her door, and his paw is caught in a bear trap, and it is their romance and a little bit more backstory of the town. And so I was hoping this would just be a really fun, quick, fast-paced, swoony read, and it was fun, and it was quick. It wasn't very swoony for me at all. It did have some steam, but again, like, this one was fun. I liked it. I liked the writing style, but it just felt like it left me feeling a little unsatisfied. It didn't really ring my bells, you know what I mean? Like, there just wasn't enough. And like I said, like, I feel like when I'm talking about, like, I want a little more nuance, I want a little more depth, I want a little bit of subtlety, I'm not saying that I want, like, that all the time nonstop, but, like, I do feel like I need a little bit more to my books than just your, you know, like, I don't know how to say this without like, I don't want to sound pretentious at all, but, like, I love a little bit more of development in our characters and in our romance, and I just felt like I didn't really get that with this one. I also felt like some of the dialogue in this was a little bit cringy, but it was cute. It was definitely cute, and it was fun, but it was also a little unsatisfying for me. Like, the romance just happened, bang, and then that was it, and I just didn't love that. So 3 stars for that one. So that one wasn't a bad book, it just wasn't great either. So I feel like this is a very negative vlog talking about things that I don't like, and I'm kind of bummed, not gonna lie. So that's 4 books that I read that I was just like, didn't really love any of those, and I can definitely feel a little bit book slumpy. So to be quite honest, I don't really know what I'm gonna pick up next. Have no clue. So let's look through some of my audiobook libraries and see what I might. Oh, actually, the book that I am definitely reading and will include in this vlog is going to be Lenore Bell's new book. Let me grab it real quick. Okay, Avon sent me this arc, or actually this is a finished copy. This book comes out, when does it come out? I think it comes out next Tuesday, I'm pretty sure, because that's the last Tuesday in September. Am I right? Am I right? Okay, September 28th, so I've got a little bit of time. To finish that one, so maybe I won't include that. Maybe I won't include that in this vlog. Yeah, I've still got 2 weeks. I still have 2 weeks. I have 2 weeks, so I don't know if I am reading this one. I've just kind of been picking away at it for a while. I'm liking it. It's cute. It's fun. I am about, I think I'm on like chapter 12. I think here. I'm about this far into it. I'm reading, I have an e-arc of it too, and then they sent me this physical copy, so I'm reading this. It's very cute. This one is basically about our heroine is the daughter of a duke, and they have come on the brink of financial ruin, as happens from time to time. There is no heir to the dukedom, and so the only option that they have to sort of save their home and their fortune, her mother passed away, and is for the Duke, her father, to remarry. So she, the heroine, is kind of pushing him to remarry so that they can survive and keep their home and everything. She wants him to marry like a rich heiress, you know. And then comes along our hero, who is a bit of a scoundrel. The devil's own Duke, that is him. He actually is a scoundrel, and he works or runs or has some type of work with Cosmo. Can you not bump the table? Thank you. With a gambling hell, and so he's a little bit nefarious, you know. Cosmo. Okay. Did you get your bone? Come here, baby. Yeah. So he and our heroine, I can't even remember their names, Ash and Henrietta. Ash is the hero. They meet at a ball that Henrietta sent her father to find a new rich wife so that he can get a sire and heir with her. Ash and Henrietta meet, and they have this one kiss that is just absolutely compelling, and she can't stop thinking about it. And then lo and behold, he is at the ball to be announced as the Cosmo. Can you not? He's gotten into chewing his bones when I'm filming videos, but always like right under my feet on the table legs of the desk. You're sitting on my art desk. So it's a little bit, what the heck was I saying? Oh yeah, so he is presenting himself as the long lost heir from a related family line to the dukedom. Sounds messy, sounds complicated. She doesn't believe him, and that's the basic plot of it. So it's good. It is good. It was a little bit of a slow beginning for me, and I think that it is very cute. There is one thing that kind of has bothered me about this book, and I haven't noticed it a ton, but I did notice it in the beginning, that it does use a little bit of a modern speech in some of the dialogue, like when Ash is talking about Henrietta to his friend Cosmo, he kind of describes her as in a way that is extremely modern. He refers to her as having curves for days, and I'm just like, I'm pretty sure that they weren't saying that back then. So that was a little jarring for me, and I'm sure that's happened. I know that's happened a few other times, but other than that, it's very sweet. It's very fun, so I hope to have that finished and be able to update you with that. Other than that, I don't really know what I'm going to read next, to be honest. I mean, I'm kind of just not really I don't really know what I'm in the mood for. Like, I didn't even film a TBR video this month because I don't know, I just wanted to mood read. Like, in August, I pretty much just mood read the whole month, and mood reading worked really well for me until now. And now I'm sort of at the point where a TBR would be nice, because then I would at least have some books that I knew I wanted to choose, but on the other hand, I'm just sort of like, I don't freaking know, so I don't know. I don't know what I want to read. I'm gonna try a couple, and then I'll let you know which one I end up sticking with, because I just don't know. So yeah, that is a reading update for you. I will be back with some news when I finish or pick a book or something. See you in a bit. Okay, well, I finished a book, and I had such high hopes for this one. Like, I was very excited about this book. This book has such a cool premise, and it did not... It disappointed me. It disappointed me. And I'm sad. I have not had any books in this vlog that I'm excited about. I go into them, and I'm excited about them, and then I end up feeling disappointed. So I am sorry that I don't have any new books to be excited about. I'm in such a rut. This is the 5th book in a row. Okay, let's talk about the book. So the book is Half a Soul by Olivia... I don't even know. Atwater. So this book is called Half a Soul. It's by Olivia Atwater. This is billed as a Regency romance meets fairy tales, but not like a... It's supposed to be like a darker, original type of fairy tale, but not like a super dark fairy tale, you know what I mean? Like, it has the vibe of the true fairy tales, and not like a watered down Disney type of fairy tale. And I love those type of fairy tales so much. I love when they're combined with fiction, and I just was extremely excited about this. But the thing that made me very excited about this is the premise. So the premise is all about our heroine, Dora, who is the only daughter of a mother who promised her firstborn child to an elf. And when she is born, she never gives her daughter to this elf. So the elf comes to find her when she is about to become of age and enter into society and look for a match. And he demands half of her soul rather than taking her to his fairyland. So she ends up living in sort of like an alternate England, because this is it's supposed to be set in the Regency time period, but like an alternate version of that where fae and elves coexist with humans. So when he takes half of her soul, she ends up losing part of herself that really responds to things emotionally. Like, she doesn't have much of an emotional reaction. She doesn't feel things the same way that other people do. And I thought that had such an interesting concept, because I have not read anything where the heroine has that type of personality. I think it's fairly common in romances for like dark romance heroes to have like they can't feel, they can't love, you know, but I haven't read anything from a heroine's point of view like that before. And also, like, one of her eyes went gray when half of her soul left, which I thought was kind of a fun touch. So she grows up, she decides, instead of entering society herself to find a match, she's just going to help her cousin, who she's really good friends with, find a match, and she's going to kind of look at it in more of an objective way instead of being purely driven by emotion. But she ends up meeting the hero, Lord Elias, who is basically a sorcerer. He's sort of like overworked, overstressed. He has a reputation for accomplishing 3 impossible things before lunchtime. And he is well known for sort of like curing these magical ailments that people have. And so he's very intrigued with her case and starts to try and figure out what happened and how he can help her and things like that. Now, he is also an interesting character because he is extremely bad-tempered, and so he does not have a wife, he doesn't have a partner, because his bad temper, his, like, just personality pushes everyone away, except for Dora, because she doesn't feel things in the same way that other people do. Like, she gets like a watered down version of his temper. Like, it doesn't bother her, it doesn't push her away. And so that's kind of the whole premise of how they have a romantic relationship, is that she's not pushed away by his bad temper, and he's intrigued by that. Like, why are you still hanging out with me? I'm a jerk, you know? And so I thought that was kind of fun. And the overarching question in this whole book is, can you fall in love with half a soul? Which I just thought was fantastic. Honestly, it sounded so good. I just thought the setup was going to be wonderful. I felt like this was just going to be one of my new favorite books, and I was so excited to go and binge the series because this is only book 1 in a series of books. And it is indie published, so I was very excited to support an indie author. However, I feel like the execution was just really lacking. I don't feel like it delivered on the powerful premise that it had. I felt like it was sort of glossed over, and it didn't give enough depth to why she only felt things halfway and what that would mean in a relationship with someone who feels things fully, you know? Oh my gosh, I thought it had so much potential for some really interesting relationship dynamics in there. And one of the things that I felt like was pretty disappointing to me is that I thought this was an adult romance because it was in like the historical romance section, and it's definitely not. This is for sure at least a YA, even though our heroine is 19, almost 20, about to get married. It reads extremely young. I think this would even be appropriate for like a middle grade type of book, and I think the reason for that isn't just because there's absolutely nothing explicit in here, like nothing, whatever. There's one kiss in the book. But I feel like it would be also appropriate for a middle grade reader because they don't really go there as far as talking about that relationship dynamic of falling for someone who doesn't feel things on the same level as you and why they're drawn to each other. You know, like, it doesn't really go deep into those adult relationship issues, which is what I really wanted it to do. And it was a very, like, engaging book. Like, the first chapter had me hooked, and I was like, I'm gonna freaking love this. But then it just kind of never delivered. Like, it had such a strong beginning, and then it just kind of went downhill. It reads very young. It doesn't tackle the topics that it does. But at the same time, it really sort of pushes this message of, like, sort of like toxic positivity and putting that on as a persona. Like, it really seems to have like this social commentary message on how we interact with other people and our emotions and how that affects our own emotions. And that seems like a really obvious message. Like, it felt like and that's why I feel like it was so disappointing, is because it was clearly geared to a younger audience with a message about toxic positivity. That's what I think the message it was pushing. And so all of the cool story elements, all of the cool dynamics that could have happened between these two were just pushed aside in favor of this message of like autonomy and like personal autonomy, thought autonomy, and also how you can, you know, should you be able to really try and force yourself to feel things or should you not? It was not interesting because it didn't handle it with subtlety. So I think the main reason that I have not liked any of these books is that I feel like they've all had some type of structure, not even structure, some type of plot, some type of story thread that was just too heavy-handed, and they didn't follow through on the topics of the books that I really hoped they did, where I thought we could have had a really nuanced, cool discussion about some of the deeper issues in relationships and relationship building, and I was disappointed. So 3 stars for that one. I think that if I had read this as a 13 or 14-year-old, I probably would have loved it. And that's not to say that YA books can't hit adult readers at all. For sure they can. But this one just seemed to clearly have a very preachy message. It was a story trying to tell a message. It wasn't a story that was trying to sweep you away, you know. And I think that when I think of the books that I read as an adult that are YA or middle grade that I love, it's always because that story was just so powerful and moving and I was swept away in it. So good storytelling trumps absolutely everything for me. Good character development does, and I just didn't feel like any of the books I read this week had that. So I am disappointed. I am sorry this is kind of a downer of a vlog. But I mean, it happens sometimes. So anyway, I'm gonna leave you here with this discussion. I hope you enjoyed this reading vlog. Yeah, and I'll be back next week, and hopefully we'll have some winners for next week. Thanks so much for watching. If you made it all the way to the end, please feel free to leave me like a cloud or something that is like maybe a rain cloud or a rain cloud. I don't know, whatever. And I'll see y'all in my next video.